You are listening to a genius woman at work, everyone, and you heard it here first.
Oh, it's those fast brains. They come up with good ideas.
When you're bouncing ideas off of like someone that's like on your level, and interested in the same thing,
Yeah.
magic really does happen.
Welcome to Unplugged, the tech podcast for digital entrepreneurs. I am one of your hosts, Brooke, the founder of the Sober Biz Collective.
Hey, podcasters. My name's Nate Kelly, best-selling author and founder of Podcast Revolution Studios. If you're looking for tech, tools, and tips on how to utilize podcasting for your business, you're in the right spot. Let's get unplugged. Brooke, how are you? How was your Christmas?
Oh, it's fantastic. It's everything, Christmas should be and more. A lot of peopling, a lot of food that I didn't eat.
So much food, so much peopling. I definitely needed like a 3-day detox after just everything. It's funny, you mentioned Boxing Day, and coming from a Canadian and an American, I had never heard of Boxing Day. I literally Googled it after your TikTok video. Which is funny.
Yeah, I was absolutely dumbfounded that Americans don't have Boxing Day. Like, for me, it makes so much sense. Like, all the deals come out after Christmas and they don't want to like re-box all the items and ship them back to their warehouses. And then also we clean up after Christmas. So you put things in boxes and throwing them in the closets and stuff again. I just thought the whole world celebrated Boxing Day.
I thought I've seen it on like calendars or, like today is International Podcast Day or Boxing Day. Like I've seen it on lists, but in my naive mind, literally thought it was like, Muhammad Ali and they were celebrating the sport of boxing and never thought twice about it. It's a good one. Yeah. Here we are. You learn. This is the benefit of an international podcast, my friend.
Yeah. There's a lot of really great deals on equipment, which I am obsessed over. My business spoiled me for Christmas this year. We just redid our little studio area here because my husband is going to start video game streaming. So we brought all his stuff down and we bought a 32-inch TV on Boxing Day and a swivel arm mount. And altogether it was like $181 Canadian for an HD 32-inch smart TV. And the arm.
You're gonna have this setup. You could put us on the screen while we're recording or doing a live stream, and you've got your Rodecaster. We've got a legit operation here, folks.
It's very legit.
Well, since we're on the topic, let's kick things off with tech talk. You have another piece of fabulous Rode equipment. Let's talk about the Wireless Go.
Awesome. Yeah, I just picked these up. I'm obsessed with them. I have mostly amazing things to say about it. However, it was not at all what I expected. So when I purchased the Rode, I thought this was a Bluetooth receiver and you could just like throw it in your pocket and it would connect to your phone wirelessly. And then this was the microphone. That is very incorrect. This needs to be plugged into your phone. I'm going to start with the bad news. It does not come with any of the things that you need in order to plug it into your phone. And
I've heard this.
Yes. And I had read reviews that said that, and I just ignored them because I was so excited. And I thought, I'm like a maverick with technology and I was going to figure it out. And I have all the dongles. But it doesn't even come with the correct...
You've got the dongles in the drawers and all the bullshit that you need.
I'm going to be able to make this work. But I could not. It needs a very specific cord that is USB-C to your iPhone. Now, if you have an iPhone 15, USB-C to USB-C works a lot better. But because I still have the Lightning port, I needed a very specific cord. The cord itself cost me $31 Canadian. It was more of an investment than I had expected. But it comes with a cord that plugs into your camera because these are actually meant for plugging into like a DSLR or video camera directly. It does not come with the stuff to be used as like content creation from your phone, which I didn't realize.
What I like about those is the little clip on the back is like the perfect size for like the cold shoe mount on the top of a DSLR, which
Yeah.
is cool. So that is a positive.
It's perfect for DSLR shooting for sure. And I used to do wedding videography. Like this would have been such a lifesaver. The sound quality is amazing. Once I finally got all the cords I needed in order to put it together and make it work with my phone, I love it, love it, love it, love it. And I don't know why, but when you hold the microphone and you talk into your camera on your phone and you post that stuff on social media, people think you have more authority than you might. I found
It's
like
so
for whatever
true.
reason.
We said this in episode 1.
Yeah.
Like the audio quality matters, people. Audio is king. So keep that in mind. I think those wireless systems are a lifesaver. They're perfect for content creation.
And it just gives you a sense of authority holding a microphone up, like you have something important to say. So I've noticed the content where I'm using my mic, I actually get more views. I have people sticking around longer. I think because there's not so much distraction and outside noise as well, they're like zeroed into your voice so they can actually absorb the information better. And actually, the elementary schools around here, because so many kids are being diagnosed with ADHD, have started implementing wireless microphones to their teaching because it helps people pay attention more. So I think it's really cool.
That's fascinating, actually. We had a teacher in high school that had a medical condition where she couldn't speak loud enough to like command the room, and she had a headset. And I don't know if it was like a placebo effect where I was just like fascinated that she had a Britney Spears microphone in like biology class, or if it actually helped with, like, to your point, the authority figure and your knowledge and the power that you hold when you're delivering information to people. So I did see that Rode, the official account, liked your video as well.
Yeah, I know, that was wild. I got so excited, like way too excited. I was like, I doubt they watched the whole thing, but
big news
because it was quite long. Well, shout out to StreamYard.
Yeah, it really is perfect for, remote podcast recording, because you don't have to worry about that lag or that freezing with the video or audio. Every participant gets their own local recording. It's studio quality audio and sound. And we will have a link in our show notes for $10 off any package that you subscribe to with StreamYard. So shout out StreamYard.
Hey.
Hey.
Yeah. So overall, in conclusion, with our Rode wireless go-to, it is an absolutely phenomenal little machine. Definitely worth the investment. Just know that you are going to have to buy some additional cords if you want to use it for your iPhone and you don't have a USB-C input on your iPhone. Really liking Rode right now. Still a huge fan. So I hope we can help you, save you some time and some money in figuring this stuff out and what you should actually get for your studio and for your setup. And I think before we launch and get started and really feel comfortable and confident, sometimes, I know I do this, I can get caught up in like, oh, I need the best equipment to start. Like I need to look like I know what I'm doing because I don't feel like I know what I'm doing,
I love that you mentioned kind of that pre-launch phase of podcast planning and development too, because I want to talk today about kind of continue our discussion on branding and the evolution of show and podcast branding and what that kind of pre-launch phase looks like. We are currently knee deep in the midst of it, which I think is one of the fun parts about this podcast. Is we'll be able to talk about things as they're happening to us, what has worked really well, what perhaps hasn't, new ideas that we're trying out. I want to talk about the challenge, that we've got in the works. We don't know everything, and we're committed to learning and developing our own skill set and knowledge base. And this is a platform that we will share that with you guys as well. So, Brooke, we're in the midst of our own sort of pre-launch. How are you feeling with a not hard deadline, but kind of goal for our launch date and kind of where we are?
I feel like we're so ambitious doing this all through like a Christmas break. Like, all my kids are home from
I
school. And
know. I had that thought. Like, are we crazy?
yeah, I think we are. But I also think that's
I think
why
we
it
are.
works because, yeah, I'm just going to own it. I have
Yeah.
ADHD and accountability issues sometimes when it comes to creating my own content. So outside accountability has worked really well. So having a partnership where I'm not just doing something on my own, I find really helps me create some of that urgency, which is what I need to get motivated to start something. So that's actually been really good for me. And having a
Same.
busy season actually works better for me for some reason. So yeah, I've really enjoyed that. And I think the biggest hidden secret to podcasting is when you get to book guests that are like are kind of where you want to be or have some information that you want to know, you kind of get a free coaching session, right? Like we had a guest on
So
recently that we just
true.
recorded with,
So true.
and we were able to kind of pick your brain afterwards, right? And say, hey, like this is our ideas for the launch. If you have any tips for us or whatever, I'd love to hear. And she gave us some really great insights on how to build a community to launch to, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's a really big hidden secret of podcasting is like the amount of networking you get to do and knowledge you get to learn by showing up and having guests that are kind of doing what you want to do, know what you want to know.
Absolutely. She kind of changed
Yeah.
the course of our whole pre-planning and pre-launch approach. And
Yeah.
it kind of afterwards is like, duh, like why didn't we think of that? But that is the importance of networking and collaborating.
Such a like jump in with both feet without thinking like I want to try something.
Yeah.
I've got this idea. I need to get out into the world. And I light up just creating. So I don't really care about like, oh, who's listening to this? Or like, what am I
Yeah.
are like building a
Yeah.
community and all those kind of things. They're not the first thing I think of. It's like, okay, what is my show going to be about? And like, what do I want? Like I end up decorating my whole office and like doing all these
Yeah.
like weird random things and getting my setup together and making sure my sound's really good and focusing on the editing and focusing on the creation part of it. And I think being able to stop and really think of like, okay, this is what I love to do, but how can I do this so efficiently that it's going to be worth all the time and effort and energy I put into it? And I think creating that community is a huge part of it. And also a 5-day challenge we are putting together for that community. So if you haven't joined it yet, go and join our community on Facebook. It's Unplugged Podcasting for Digital Entrepreneurs. And we are going to be putting some additional resources, networking, and community in there. And if you've ever wanted to be a guest on a podcast or have any questions about starting your own show, want to get some behind the scenes stuff, that community is going to be the place for you. We're also going to be doing a 5-day challenge on starting your podcast and getting the first episode out there. And I'm so excited.
Yes. I love it. That was like a stroke of genius that you had, I will say.
It's all those MLMs I did. They have some really great marketing.
Gosh,
I'm
it's
never
so
going to join
true.
an
Oh
MLM
my
again,
God.
but
Oh, another thing about sort of that community that I wanted to mention is it sort of is another way or a way in the beginning when you don't necessarily have a budget for a website or the knowledge or skill to create a website for your show. It kind of helps to create this landing page for your listeners to go to. So it can have other details. It has other listeners who perhaps want to be a part of the community. You know, you always hear at the end of podcasts the call to action or a place to direct your listener to for more information. And that's a great way to do it, a Facebook group.
I'm really excited to grow that community and just nurture it, and starting from the ground up with people that are going to be our kind of founding listeners and audience
Yeah.
and growing with
Yes.
them and hearing what their thoughts are and what they want to know so that we can create content that like really serves them. I think it's going to be amazing.
I do too. I'm super excited for the community. And I think, that's where the trust building happens. You get a little deeper, you create connections with the listeners. We're able to do like giveaways and these challenges and fun things sort of off the airwaves that I think help to establish that trust and that kind of authority that would want people to tune in or to work with us as potential clients. I think that's kind of where the where the real magic happens.
I think it's worth mentioning too, like why choose Facebook, because, Facebook's kind of a dead platform it's said to be kind of a dead platform, but there is still so many users on there and everybody has it and it's free to use. Like there's other programs, there's Mighty Networks, there's like you can do it through your website. If you have a Wix website, they have like forums and groups and stuff you can create there as well. But then you have to teach your audience how to use it and get them to download another app and get them to migrate over when they're already on Facebook, even if they're just on it to share pictures of their kids to their grandma or to use Facebook Messenger. Everybody knows how to use Facebook. So, yeah, it's an easy in. Similar to Zoom, like no one has to learn anything to know Zoom now. Everybody's got it, right?
Yeah, that's literally the only thing that I use Facebook for right now. I open the app, go directly to our group, and that's pretty much it. But it is something that everyone from 90 to 9 years old knows how to use. And, someone doesn't have to download or pay for something, or there's no education behind it. That's a great point.
Another thing that I've heard recently I listened to Gary Vee obsessively, and
love it.
He was actually saying that Facebook is a really underutilized platform. Like everybody's focusing on TikTok right now and everybody's focusing on Instagram. They're so oversaturated that it's actually really hard to be seen. So if you can create quality content on Facebook, it's still got a ton of users, but there's not a lot of creators that are there anymore. So you actually have a better chance of having your stuff seen.
Okay.
Which I thought was great. And then also, the demographic on there are people who are looking to buy stuff, who have disposable income, So.
Exactly. Yeah, they're that sort of elder millennial or boomer.
I forgot
check us out, Unplugged on Facebook. Well, yeah, I didn't know how young I wanted to get. Oh no, yeah, Gen X. You're right. Sometimes in my brain, I have to say, okay, Gen X, Gen Z. And you know how I remember it? There was like a Diet Coke commercial when we were younger that was Generation X, or maybe it was Pepsi. But I have to sing that jingle in my head to remember that Gen X is older than me and Gen Z is younger. Brooke, we have, I think, decided on 4 episodes to launch with, 4 or 5. The point being never to launch with one episode. And it might be self-explanatory, but do you want to kind of talk about the reasoning behind that, or at least what our approach is?
Absolutely. So I recently, I'm a big Vanderpump Rules fan. It's kind of a guilty pleasure. I've been with them.
No judgment. Okay.
Since episode 1, I have watched from when Beverly Hills Housewives turned into Vanderpump Rules. I was a fan.
It literally just turned into it.
Yeah, it was magic. It was magic. They have literally like trailblazed from day one. They've changed the way television or reality television exists. That being said, every single one of them have a podcast now.
And I didn't realize this.
Yeah, so there's been a big scandal that happened. And so Tom Sandoval was in the middle of the scandal, and this girl, Raquel, in the middle of the scandal. They had an affair, and it blew everything up, blew up the internet. It was on like national news for some reason.
Yep.
Broke the internet completely. And so Rachel, the mistress, has started a podcast because she became friends with Bethany, who's also a housewife. Yeah. If you guys are not into reality TV, this is going to be a rabbit hole you might want to just skip through. But
skip to the next segment. I feel like the majority of our demographic is right there with you, though.
Okay, good. Getting to my point, Rachel has started a podcast, and she launched with one 9-minute episode, and it physically angered me because, like, what a tease. You know what I mean? I know.
Yes.
And
it wasn't just a trailer. It was like an episode.
It's an episode, just one 9-minute episode, to kind of sharing her side of the story of things. And it didn't really give us an idea of like what this show is going to be about, or get excited because episodes are coming, or like have like a little trailer, where you splice together some of your episodes that are upcoming to be like, listen, this is what the date that it's all going to be launched and whatever. It's just like one episode and left there. It almost feels like she could never do another episode again and she just wanted to tell her side of the story kind of thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, I like to binge things and I will lose interest very quickly if there is not more for me to listen to. So if you really want to capture that audience when you launch, and the launch is the most important part, and you want to get your listener count up because that's what's going to get you on those charts for Apple and Spotify, launch with 4 or more episodes so that people can binge the episodes and then you'll have more listens when you launch, right? And you'll have a happier audience that really feels connected to you right away and like can't wait for the next week for your next episode to come out.
Exactly. Yeah. I think, if listener A likes your first episode, they're very likely to click on at least one other episode. So that's doubled your listen right there. And if someone's just coming and scrolling, there's 4 episode titles to entice them. So they're more likely than if just left with one option to click on one of 4. Just literally it's math. I mean, the math is mathing. The more options there are for people, the more, it's going to work in your favor. So, wow. I'm literally Googling what podcast network Rachel's on and who the marketing people are behind it.
So yeah, you've heard of girl math and you've heard of boy math. Well, this is podcast math.
Exactly. Oh, you know what I did think about is, and I don't know if this is kind of out of our lane, but doing like, do you look at the new and noteworthy list on Apple?
Not often, but I have.
Yeah. Like reviewing, like picking a show that's on the new and noteworthy, or just having like a recommendation out of our own podcast library that we love or that's helpful, or, I would talk about Pat Flynn, you would talk about Gary Vee, probably just like show recommendations, podcast recommendations, I think would be cool.
Oh, I really like that. I think too, just talking about like their setup and, kind of breaking down
or
the
if there's something that's
why
like trending and new podcasts, like, when video podcasting became a thing or whatever is trending in the genre, I think is cool.
We could even like play a clip or something and be like, okay, this is why this podcast is working so well. Here's some of the things they're doing right. Here's some of the things we do differently, kind of thing,
Like almost like a football, like a playboard where they have like the pen where they're like, see this here. But I love that idea. See, this is
anybody doing that. That's pretty cool.
No. Genius. You are listening to a genius woman at work, everyone. And you heard it here first.
It's those fast brains. They come up with good ideas.
When you're bouncing ideas off of like someone that's like on your level, and interested in the same thing.
Yeah.
Magic really does happen. So something that I talk about with clients is the format of your show. And this factors into kind of that development and pre-launch planning as well. What format your show is going to be. Is it a single host, you yourself? Is it co-hosted? Is it guest interview heavy? And honestly, my favorite is co-hosted because of that banter and that back and forth and being able to develop things like on the fly and come up with ideas. It's my favorite. So that's what I stick to. That's, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, it is a very lonely business to be an entrepreneur, especially a digital entrepreneur, because you're literally in front of your computer by yourself all day, every day. So having another brain to talk to and to collaborate with is so huge. I think that's another reason why our community is going to be a big resource for you listening, because you won't have to be doing this alone. Having outside accountability can be huge. Finding someone in that group who wants to be a buddy or a co-host or just someone that you can hold accountable together, like accountability buddy, right? We'll be in this group. So please go to Facebook, join it. That's how we're really going to get to know you and get to know what you need and how we can best serve you. Yeah. That's my soapbox.
It's literally why we're here and why this show was created. because Brooke and I did find it difficult to create and distribute and come up with ideas, and the accountability piece. Being solo digital entrepreneurs, it's difficult, and having a buddy is the best. Highly recommend.
Yeah, there's that saying, when two brains come together, a third brain is formed. Like, there's so much magic in collaboration. It really is phenomenal.
Thanks so much for hanging out today. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube for all of our video content at Unplugged Tech Pod.
And join us in our Facebook group, facebook.com/group/unpluggedpodcast. Also, make sure to throw us a 5-star review if you are finding this content valuable for you and your digital business. We accept all forms of reviews: Apple Podcast, Spotify follows, YouTube, telling your grandmother about us.
And make sure to share the episode with one person in your life who may find it valuable. And we'll see you next time on Unplugged.
I think it's good enough, and we're just going to keep getting better.